Before then?
No, nothing before
So
that.
you didn't, until you were a teenager?
Until Hitler came to power, then it started. That was 1933.
Yes. What sort of goals and dreams did you have before you were 14? What did you think you would like to do with your life?
Oh, good dreams. I want to take over my father's business, traveling around the neighborhood to small places and interview people whether they like to buy shirts. I very much like to take over my father's business.
Tell me how the rise of Hitler in 1933 affected your life.
Well, for a start, they introduced that all Jews had to be separated in school, number one. And the beginning was I could not attend Hebrew school any longer. And they, at that time, they urged people to leave Germany.
And did your family consider leaving Germany?
They considered to go to Israel, but it didn't work out quite. And my aunt in Israel died, and this whole thing fell apart.
Now, who was urging you to go to Israel?
My aunt in Israel told us to immigrate, and also other people in Halle even urged us. But my father was so set that after all, he grew up in that town and he had his business there, nothing will happen to us. And that was the early attitude of the Jewish people in Germany.
How did your mother feel about it?
She very much wanted to immigrate, but at that time we didn't know where to.
Yes.
We had a chance to go to Shanghai, but my mother was not so much in favor of it, so we dropped it altogether. To Cuba, it didn't work out.
Were you aware at the time of their making these efforts, and how did you feel about it? Were you frightened?
Well, of course, there was a certain amount of awareness towards Hitler being now in power, but we didn't consider to immigrate because, after all, as I said before, my father liked his business and his home where he grew up.
What was the reaction of the non-Jews in the community to the changes Hitler was forcing upon them?
The non-Jews were always in favor of it, and they started to dislike Jews, and they didn't like us. My father was in charge of the house. He was looking after the house. And the people were not very much in favor of him.
Now, what house was this?
That's where I grew up.
Yes.
Where my father owned part of it, part of the house.
I see. And they wanted you to leave?
They didn't say exactly, but you can feel the excitement, the opinion.
Yes. Do you know whether any of the non-Jews encouraged the Jews at that time to leave? Did they care enough about the Jews, any of them?
Nobody cared about
Jews.
Nobody cared about Jews at all at that stage, no.
So they welcomed Hitler and what he was
Of course they
having
welcomed Hitler,
to say.
sure. Later on they had big pogroms.
What was your understanding of Nazism at the time? Do you recall? You
At
were
the
quite
time
young.
that we must immigrate, there was no choice but to leave the country as soon as we can. But being a teenager, my opinion didn't count much.
How did the other children your age feel?
Some immigrated. If you were a Zionist even, they left early. Some children got out.
Were there many meetings among the Jews to discuss?
Oh, there were some, but I didn't attend because I was too young.
Yes.
At that time, they say, I don't understand.
But I mean, with your parents, did the adult Jews meet
The
frequently?
adult Jews met, yes. but nothing was decided, you know.
And they didn't try to do anything as a group, for instance?
They encouraged people to leave the country, but at that stage people were very reluctant
It was difficult.
to leave.
Did you know any Nazis? Or did you
Yes,
hear your
at school, yes, I do. One of my teachers was a Nazi. He wore a uniform.
And was that was a man?
Yeah, that was a man, yes.
And did he treat you worse than you
He
had
treated me
before?
all right at that stage, yes. He liked me, as a matter of fact. But
Do you remember his name?
no, I do not remember the name, I'm sorry.
But other than your teacher, were you aware of other people who had joined the Nazi Party?
Yes, some joined the Nazi Party, yes. One, our director of the school, did not join the party, and he was later arrested.
Now, did anyone try to recruit your father either to serve in the army or to go over to Hitler's side?
No, no, no.
That
no,
no one,
there was no way.
no one tried that. Was there any attempt that you know of by your parents to protect their property or to save any of their assets, either money or jewelry? Was there anything?
There was nothing protect. At that stage, nobody knew what's going to happen.
So no one made any provisions?
Nobody
early on.
made any plans, any plans to do anything.
Did you have any warning before Kristallnacht that something like this would happen? Had you become aware of their boycotting Jews' businesses?
Well, I was not aware of anything until something happened.
So you hadn't heard anyone talking about it or
Well,
other
I
children?
heard of some arrests, yes, but nothing.
And to the best of your knowledge, the other adults were not yet showing any alarm, so no one...
Oh, absolutely. Nobody showed any alarm whatsoever. It'll go over, it'll blow over. He won't be in power long.
But all the non-Jews were very happy about what was going...
In fact...
no one tried to stop it?
In fact, I went to Allenstein. My grandmother lived in Allenstein. And there was a man I liked very much. He was a friend of ours, a non-Jew, but he was a communist. One day he was arrested and never came back.
Do you remember his name?
No, I don't remember
No.
his name.
How did your grandparents react to what was going on? Any differently from the way your parents reacted?
My grandparents were not alive anymore.
Oh, you mean, all right, you weren't visiting your grandparents, you were just
Yeah,
in
visited my grandparents,
that
yes.
town. All right, now describe Kristallnacht. Describe what happened on Kristallnacht.
Oh, yeah. All right. I came back from Leipzig. I had a job there as a fur trainee in furs. And all of a sudden, I came home, and the Gestapo, the German secret police, was in our apartment. They turned the furniture upside down, and I was, they stood me against the wall with my hands up and repeat, "We have no guns." And that happened to my father too. And they sealed the apartment, and they put me on a truck with my father and took me to the prison in Halle overnight. Next day, they loaded me on a truck together with my father, and I had a loaf of bread in my hand, which I wanted to save in case I get hungry. I was put on a truck, and we went to Weimar. That's nearest to the concentration camp Buchenwald. I was put on a truck with my father and shipped there. Then they told me, as soon as you hit Buchenwald, you run as fast as you can. We were received by SS people with